Here we go. Everybody's jumping in here. There's TJ even. I gotta let her.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Woohoo!
Welcome to Desi and Kim's Coffee Connections with drones.
Yes.
The drone
Hello.
zone. And
Yes.
today it's going to be coming in hot with Eric Hanscom. Coming in hot. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Coming in hot.
And he has already put his contact information in there. Awesome. So we do still have some people jumping in here. So we're going to give it a minute. While we do that, I have two things. One, in case you are not familiar with it, Women in Drones had an amazing workshop last weekend in Utah with John McBride and Autel. They did a phenomenal job. The whole weekend was beautiful. We were very blessed with wonderful weather and just the surroundings. And we learned so much. Who doesn't learn when you're with John McBride, right? It's like, wow. So looking at who's already on our coffee connection, I would like to see if Carolyn could just do maybe one little shout out, unmic yourself there and just do a 1-minute elevator speech about what you learned. Did you like it? How'd it go?
Oh, it was great. It was great. It was worth the flight from Boston. There were still snow caps on the mountains, but the wind conditions, the aeronautical field we flew at was terrific. And again, mucho kudos to Autel. It was great. It was really great.
Yes. It was so, they just did a wonderful job at hosting. They provided the drones for us. It was just perfect weather. I got to let some more people in here, so give me a sec. And so looking forward to the next one also. And actually John McBride has said he was so touched by it and it was so wonderful. He said he would definitely be on board to do another one. So we're going to get the
So Carolyn, what and Desi, just a real quick shout out. What drones did you fly from Autel?
I, of course, jumped right onto the thermal,
Right.
the Enterprise.
Well, what specific model?
The Enterprise is the one.
Okay,
that
the
I had.
Enterprise. Okay.
But they also had well, Carolyn brought her own drone because she has the Autel Evo 2 Pro. And then Princella, she brought her own drone as well. But Autel had several different drones there. They had from the Nano Mini, that Plus, they had that one there. They also brought out a light. They had that there. So just a whole gamut. And then to finish off our amazing day, John flew the Dragonfish.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if any of you flew that.
No,
we got to hold it.
Can't touch
yeah,
this.
We all took a picture.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, it was phenomenal. It is an incredible drone. And so it was pretty cool. We all got to watch it take off and do its little route. It did its subject tracking. We had one of the young kids that were there at the AMA field. He was our subject and he was running all over the field, and the drone just autonomously tracks whoever you pinpoint. So it was incredible. It is an amazing drone. So
I will say this, when I've had clients that come in with Autels, because mostly we do DJI, but I have clients that come in with the Autels. I am impressed by their tracking abilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely am impressed by their tracking abilities. I don't like, for me personally, I feel like the DJIs are a little smoother. But the tracking, like the subject tracking that we did some stuff with it was awesome. I'm like, wow, this thing really can subject track. So yeah, that's just my personal opinion. But so that's why I wanted to know, because, I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, it looks like we have Delissa who just jumped on here. She is actually the winner of a drone. Autel graciously actually gave away a drone and she won that drone.
Nice, congratulations.
Easy,
Man, when you
easy.
hang out with us women in
Hold on one
drones,
second.
people
Hold
are
on.
winning.
Yes,
Hold
we are winners.
We are winning.
Awesome. So I
It put
think
a smile on my face, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. Y'all need to come to these
Nice.
workshops. Isn't that beautiful?
I
yeah.
love it.
I am just one not to win too much of anything. So I was truly shocked to have that come my way, but I'm grateful.
That's awesome. So are the nanos like the minis, Desi?
Yes,
Like the air?
the mini. It's like the mini. So everybody got a chance to fly one. And so it was pretty nice that they had that there. I also, perfect little segue into our next workshop, right? So I put a link in there if you're interested in that one. So we still have the disaster response workshop and we're really, really excited about that one. And knowing the response and everything from the past workshop, it's super exciting to know that this new workshop's coming up. And so if you're interested at all, I gave you the link for that also. So, all right, all this travel, what a perfect time to
That's
bring
right.
Eric. We were supposed to have Fiona this weekend. Obviously, being in Australia, we've been trying to work out logistics and it just didn't work out. So perfect for Eric to come and share with us about his travels, right? So Eric, I'm gonna go ahead and make you spot. Oh, look, Sharon said 4 seats left for the disaster response. Eric, I'm going to make you spotlight speaker and share with us about traveling with our drone and permits. How do we go about getting permits?
Okay, great. Can everybody hear me? Can you give me the thumbs up if you can hear me? All
You
right,
sound
great.
fantastic.
Okay, good. So while you were all finding out about drones this weekend, I found out on Saturday that your Tuesday spotlight speaker wasn't going to be able to make it. And I happened to be in my car out in the middle of the desert and we got back late Sunday night. So this is not exactly a very well prepared presentation, but Desi asked me to talk about permits and traveling and stuff like that. And so anyway, I'm going to launch right into it. Also, I am starting a new series of videos called Droning On and On about particular places. And Desi and I talked about this about 3 months ago. I actually finished one of them and there's one of them online right now on my Drone Zone YouTube channel. So far it's got, wow, 131 views so far. So, you know, Kardashians, you guys better be careful because I'm going to knock you guys
Right.
off YouTube.
That's right.
Justin
That's
Bieber,
right.
I hear he's trembling right now over how many views I'm getting. So anyway, I told Desi I'm going to try to do another one on the Salton Sea, but these are basically attempts at being very practical. How do you get there? What do you take? What do you need to worry about? Do you need permits? What hotels do you stay at to stay outside of the 5-kilometer zone around the airport, things like that. So anyway, with no further ado, I've made a couple movies here that I hope will actually work. So we're going to try the first one right now. Can everyone see that?
Nope, you're still on.
No? Okay, let me share screen here. Share screen. We'll share number 2. Share.
There we go.
And
Okay.
there we go.
Okay, so droning on and on about traveling with drones. I when I first began here, I decided to make a list of the countries I'd actually flown in, and it's rather pathetic. But anyway, each one of these countries has been fairly entertaining, and I've learned a lot from each one. When we got over to the States, I realized I was even better prepared for this because of these states. I've really only flown significantly in 4 of them, and 3 of them have banned drones. So in their state parks. So when we're talking about permits for state parks, we're going to kind of narrow it down to the great state of Utah, since that's the only one I've flown a lot that actually will allow drone flying in the state parks. But when you're thinking about traveling, the first question you got to ask yourself is, are you going to drive, boat, or fly there? Because what you carry is going to depend on how you get there. This is obviously a boat. For those of you who don't know that, this is an airplane. This is at Svalbard. And when you look at the airplane, you notice that, I mean, I'm sure you can see, but all the batteries are packed up here in the carry-on luggage, and the drones are in the checked luggage. You can see that in this plane, trust me. All right. So if you're just going to get to a place and fly from a vehicle, or if you're going to take a short hike, or you're going to take a long hike, it really depends. It really influences what you're going to carry. This is my go-to backpack I take on just about every trip. And that works for short trips. But sometimes you have to hike long distances. You have to carry water and food and stuff like that. So if I'm just flying out of my car, I'll just take a hard case, because this gives the drones the best protection, in my opinion. You basically throw everything in the car, hook it up, hook it up to the solar panel or whatever you're using to recharge your battery, and you can fly for days just using this rig. Now, obviously, this doesn't fit in a suitcase very well, so you have to make another plan if you're going to be going in a plane first. For a short hike, this is my go-to drone backpack. This has been with me for about 4 years, and I have no intention of ever getting rid of it. Stores 7 batteries nicely, has a lot of room for a bunch of other things, and it takes everything with you very nicely. Now, it doesn't take water, it doesn't take jackets or hats or anything like that. So if you're going for a longer distance trip, you're going to have to take a larger backpack. But this is pretty much my go-to whenever I'm not going to be hauling a lot of stuff. Now, this is the Iceland volcano. This is my rig there, my hiking poles, my larger backpack, my water, my batteries, my drone, everything. Ironically enough, like in mountaineering, you set up stash points on the way. So you carry extra water. If you have extra water with you, you leave it at a stash point. So unfortunately, the day after this picture was taken, the lava overran this position. So there are 2 1-liter bottles of water under about 10 feet of lava. But anyway, the thought was there. So this is my hiking backpack here. You notice I've got room for the batteries, room for a jacket, for water. This also scrunches up very nicely, so I can get it on as carry-on. Here, this is one of my trips with all the batteries shoved in there. Obviously, a little harder to keep track of which batteries are new and which batteries are used, but when you're hiking, this is the hike up to the volcano in Iceland, you got to take more than just your drone, because otherwise you're going to run out of water and there isn't a whole lot of snow to eat. And even if there is, you lose a lot of body heat melting it. You can walk close to the lava there, but probably not a good idea to. So what about rules and regulations? Iceland, you don't need a permit right now, and don't do anything stupid. That's pretty much what their drone rules have to say. So don't jump into the lava. Don't, try to, well, a lot of people cook hot dogs over the lava as a joke. Even now, the eruption has stopped, but there's still some steam vents. So people are still cooking food over the hot steam vents in Iceland. This is why, this is a pumice shower. That's the volcano right there. We're about 2 kilometers south of it. This is why you're very careful where you fly your drone. You generally don't try to fly your drone downwind of a volcano when it's erupting.
Wow.
I'm trying to use my pole to protect myself right here. Hong Kong, keep 50 meters away from any person, vehicle, or structure. And again, don't do anything stupid. No permits needed right now. Who knows with the world political situation, what it's going to become in the future. But right now, Hong Kong is still a wonderful place to fly. I've certainly enjoyed my trips there. Look ahead of time for weather. and look ahead of time for politics. Got to make sure you can get out. China, you got to register your drone if it's bigger than a Mavic Mini. Now, I don't know about Autel's version of the Mavic Mini. I don't know if it's under 250, but the Mini is 249. So you can fly a lot of places without registering or without a permit if you use your Mini. This is Shenzhen. England, you got to register if it's larger than a Mavic Mini. Very similar laws to the US and England. Svalbard, similar to the US. You don't need to register your drone right now. Do not harass polar bears. They take their polar bears very seriously in Svalbard. This is the greeter at the luggage carousel. And actually, they treat polar bears very similar to humans. If a polar bear is shot in Svalbard, first of all, they prohibit the taking of the pelt outside of Svalbard. And they treat any death of a polar bear like a murder of a human. So just to discourage trophy hunters from taking a steak and putting it in their back pocket and then saying they shot the polar bear in self-defense. So anyway, and you really don't want to annoy one of these people either. These bears either. They view humans as food, so danger. Thailand, wonderful place to fly, certified nightmare to get the permits and all that stuff done. I went to Thailand. I'm actually Thailand's #2 drone pilot. I was the second person to register there. So first of all, you get to go to Bangkok. You got to bring a copy of your owner's manual to register your drone. You have to find somebody in their version of the FAA who knows what a drone is, which is difficult. I have a Thai wife, so she was able to explain that. But if it had just been me, I don't think I would have pulled it off. Got to buy your insurance, wait for the insurance to go through. Then once the insurance goes through, you got to show a copy of it to their version of the FAA. And then they print your permit and then they send it to you. So obviously nothing you're going to get done on a week trip over to Thailand. You've got to try to set all this stuff up in advance. And this is me with my well-traveled backpack. My scooter gets worse every year because I drive it in salt water, but I do try to clean it off with fresh water most of the time. Okay, so that is foreign. Let me go to domestic here. Let me go to domestic here. New share is going to be okay. Can everyone see a pink map of the United States?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. So again, these are states I've flown in, and I've really only flown in California, Nevada, Utah, and Arizona enough to really feel like I have anything to say worth listening to. And since California, Nevada, and Arizona have banned drone flights in the state parks, I started working on Utah, and I realized I basically turned this into a promotional feature for the Utah state parks. But since they allow drone flying, it's like, why not? So anyway, Utah is a marvelous place. The national parks grabbed the best land, then the state parks grabbed the rest of it. But even where the state parks haven't grabbed it, it's still beautiful flying. These are the places that I'm going to be talking about today. These are the state parks where they do allow drone flying. And some of them are really nice. Some of them are probably not so good. They all have different policies. You find out the policy by looking online and you call the park superintendent. How do you get a permit? Well, you walk up to the visitor center and it says the permit, and they give you, in some cases, they even give you the months that the drones are not allowed in the park. So you obviously figure this out before you take your trip. Kind of a bummer to show up at Dead Horse Point in the summer and say, and rent the most expensive RV parking space for 2 months and say you're going to fly your drone every day and then see this sign. So anyway, you generally call the park superintendent. They'll tell you exactly what's going on in terms of the drones. To get a permit in Utah, you get on their website and you fill out one of these. Now, what I do before I travel is I download this. This is the link to it. All you have to do if you want to find this is you just get on Utah State Parks drone permits. I put in all my information here. I fill everything out. I leave the name of the park blank, and then I just take the same permit, fill it out at every park. Most places charge a per day fee, which is somewhere between $5 and $15. So it's like, it's really a good deal. So I'm just going to go through these state parks and again, give a promotional video outreach for the state parks. We do it alphabetically. The first is Coral Pink Sand Dunes, which is named for its sand dunes that I guess are coral pink. This is mainly an off-road area, but I just love the color. We actually went sandboarding on this very hill. That was fun. My son did better than I did. I kind of crashed and burned, but it turned out okay. These videos are sped up about between 2 and 4 times because I wanted to get everything in here. So the videography is not great, but you can at least get an idea whether this is a place that you might want to visit. And if you go back to that map that I showed you earlier, you can see that a lot of these state parks are right next to each other or within an hour's drive. So you can make a really, really nice trip to Utah, combining the national parks with the state parks. And so you can see the beautiful places and you can fly legally in the state parks. One thing that's really nice about flying in the state parks is that the rangers, by and large, are really into it. Like I've been thanked by a number of rangers. I'll always ask them when I get the drone permit, you know, what are their rules and regulations? And in many cases, they've said, hey, thank you so much. What's your YouTube channel? Thanks for promoting our park, which is not an attitude that you find in some other states, needless to say. Okay, next we've got Dead Horse Point State Park. This is actually technically a no drone zone. The parking lot here, you're not allowed to fly over there. That is me right there, right outside of the no drone zone. They give you a map. They show you where exactly you can take off, where you're not supposed to fly over. So anyway, I love Dead Horse Point. It's one of those places where when you're hanging out there over space, you really don't want to get that lost satellite message or propeller failure or something like that, because you're not going to get your drone back. But anyway, I've been here a few times. I really enjoy flying it. That's Colorado below.
Eric, how high are you flying there? Like when you were at that peak?
Probably 200, 150 feet. I usually stick right around there. If you get up to 400, I find that I just fly my old Mavic too, and this is after it got trashed in Iceland. So you get much higher and you're not going to see much, at least with
Right.
that drone. Escalante Petrified Forest State Park. Utah is full of these reservoirs. This one has petrified wood near it. Petrified wood is definitely the high point here, but they also allow drone flying, which is pretty cool. And there's supposed to be good fishing and good crayfishing, or I guess you call them crawfish. I don't know. I'm not from the South, so maybe somebody can correct me, but it's spelled crayfish, but I guess you're supposed to pronounce it crawfish. Anyway, we didn't go fishing or crawfish fishing here either, but Escalante is a nice place. The drone permit was free, and they have a free RV dump if you happen to have a trailer with you. One of my favorites, Goblin Valley, drone permits. It says on the website they're $10, but they charged me $5 last time. And they have these things, I guess these are goblins. And this place is just wonderful. We had the entire campground to ourselves. We went over Christmas one year, the only car in the whole place. And
So there's no snow out there at that time?
we haven't had problems. Goblin Valley, it's not at a high enough elevation, so the
Oh,
snow
okay.
sticks around. So you kind of check those weather reports, look at the road conditions, and plan to travel in between the snow. And
So this
since,
is winter time that you're doing this?
yes, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was not much above freezing when I shot
Huh.
this. But when
Well,
the sun comes
temperature on
out,
the ground. I just don't know anything about that area.
well, it's Goblin Valley. It's very close to Green River, and it's actually a couple hours away from Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park. Goosenecks. Goosenecks is a very little known state park right on the Mexican border. And I had a very interesting situation happen there. This is the map of Goosenecks showing that it's a little square, which would be right about this area. And as I went up, I spoke with the ranger, and it was, we got into a little bit of an argument about where the state park ended and where it began. And I showed her the map, and she said, "Oh no, this is wrong." And I said, "Oh, well, so how far does Goosenecks go?" And she waved up this direction, like, "Oh, it goes up to Canada." And then she waved down this direction, it goes down to Mexico. So anyway, rather than hassle with her, we went off on this road. And but that's one I will clear up with the park superintendent before I go again. This is a wonderful little place. No water, no sewage dump, just a little bathroom. But this is the San Juan River. And from what I've heard, this is a wonderful place to take a raft trip. This is for the real thrill seekers. I don't want to take my trailer out here.
And you've been able to get a permit to fly at all of these locations.
I have, and I'm probably $250 the poorer for it, which is not bad since I paid way over that just for the insurance to get my Thailand permit. Gunlock State Park. Gunlock is another, it's another beautiful reservoir with a bunch of red rocks around it. This one was a little pricey. I paid 15 bucks for this permit and 15 bucks to enter. So it was a $30 day trip, which since Goblin Valley was $5 for the permit, I felt like, okay, well, whatever. It's still nice though. Gunlock is also famous for its crayfish. And again, another place you just drive up to the ranger station, show them your filled out form and pay the money. Kodachrome Basin. This is my favorite place to fly. Doesn't require permits. It's free. When you ask them at the ranger station, you say, "I have a drone. Do you still allow drone flying?" They say, "Oh yeah. What's your YouTube channel? Hey, thanks for promoting our park." It's like, okay, I can stay here for a few days every time. There's no question about that. And I just love Kodachrome Basin. It's got some just fantastic places to fly. There's a marvelous history behind how it was created. And because of the colors, the Kodak company actually allowed them to use the name Kodachrome to describe the state park. So this place is just wonderful. It's got 2 separate campgrounds, horseback riding during the warmer months. And it's quite nice. It's also right down the hill from Bryce Canyon. So you can do a marvelous combination trip where you go to Bryce and Zion, and then you go to Kodachrome Basin, combine it all in one trip. Quail Creek State Park. This is one of the 2 reservoirs right near St. George, Utah. Again, you're dealing with the reservoir with pretty water and red rocks around it. So Utah has figured out, they figured out decades ago that red rocks and pretty water are a great place to have people come and enjoy themselves. So Quail Creek, I think it was $10 for the permit here. And again, I'm getting a foil board with a wing. So hopefully I'll be able to enjoy the water a little bit more. This is a campground. It's a fine little place. Sand Hollow is very close to Quail Creek. As a matter of fact, Quail Creek, the water exit goes into Sand Hollow. Sand Hollow, I think the permit was 15. I didn't get one because I'd just been to Quail Creek and it was red rocks around pretty water again. So, but Sand Hollow again is another place that will sell you a drone permit. Two honorable mentions, the Burr Trail. Burr Trail connects Boulder, Utah, with a road that comes down by Torrey. Burr Trail is paved except for the dirt road switchbacks, for which it's given its name. Fun place to fly. Not a whole lot of turnoffs, but once you find a turnoff. The second honorable mention is Hogback. This is the road that connects Escalante, Utah with Boulder, Utah. And again, doesn't require a permit. Another one of those places where you don't want to see that engine failure notice or losing satellites notice, because that'd be kind of a hefty hike to go look for your drone.
Is that in the wintertime, Eric, in that one?
Yes, yes. This was December.
Okay. So is it greener or slash redder in the summer?
It is greener in the spring and it's redder in autumn. The problem with autumn is that, for me anyway, is that you can't combine, let me stop sharing the screen here. The problem with autumn is that it doesn't coordinate well with school holidays for me. And so,
Right.
you know, we're going to fly to New England because it's going to take us long to fly to New England and see the fall colors there as it would be to drive to some of these places in Utah, unfortunately. But yeah, October, late September, early October, even late October is a marvelous time to visit Utah if you want to see fall colors. I'm already on the Carlsbad Unified School District's bad parent list for hauling my kid out of school to take him to Thailand one year. So I can't risk another demerit.
Good for you. Butt that system, buddy.
You know, when I was a kid, my dad got offered a job in the South Seas, and my parents went to the principal and they said, hey, Eric's dad got offered a job in the South Seas, but we'd have to take him out of school for a year. And the principal said, oh, take the job. He'll learn more in the South Seas than he would in
Yep.
school anyway. He's young for his grade, so just go ahead and take him out. Unfortunately, my dad didn't take the job, but now we've got where you have your kid out for 2 days for unexcused absence. It's like,
That's right.
bad parent,
That's right.
you get letters. So anyway, yeah, I got to get him out of middle school. Then I think I can start my being a bad parent again. I don't know. So
There's a lot to be.
You're
said
actually a
about
good
world
parent.
Experiences.
yeah, I mean, I told him, yeah, he's going there to teach English classes in elementary school, and he's going there to help the monks learn to fly drones to do temple inspections. But yeah, I guess that's not a good use of his time.
Doesn't have anything to do with them, so they don't care.
No. As with how much money's coming into the school district, that's what it has to do.
That's exactly what it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
That's it.
Eric,
Yes.
as far as the travels that you did in the beginning video that you had shown the bag with all of your batteries in it.
Yes.
Have you ever encountered with certain airlines where they needed the batteries actually separately bagged?
Yes, I have run into that on occasion, and I used to take lipo bags for all the batteries, and then I found that none of them cared anymore, and I get pulled into secondary a lot. And what I do is the minute I see my bag come up, I wave my hand, I go, drone pilot here, and usually they don't even look at it. They just throw the bag at me and say, okay, you're fine. 5 or 6 years ago, it was different. They would, what is this? What does it do? I'd have to put the propellers on, take the batteries in and out, and show them the controller, and then they'd understand. And one time I was leaving China, and I made the mistake. I actually left my drone with a lithium-ion battery in my checked luggage, and I got hauled out of the I got held out of the waiting area backwards through security, had to take it out, put it in my pocket. And then they just walked me around security, put me back on the plane. So anyway, back then there were some consequences for being sloppy. I haven't been sloppy since then. But yeah, I don't find that the airlines care a bit anymore, as long as they can see that it's a battery and they see that it's for a drone, and it's not a big deal to them anymore from what I've seen.
Okay.
So I still have my lithium containers. They don't seem to care.
How far in advance do you recommend if you're gonna be getting, so you're basically saying that when you, for these different permits that you required, you download them offline, fill them out, and then on the day that you're going out and fly, you just go to the facility to get the okay? Is that every circumstance, or is it only certain?
Yeah, what I do domestically, and again, I'm talking with Utah
Domestically,
because in
okay.
California, there isn't exactly a drone permit to fly in California's part. And don't get me going on California. I mean, I wouldn't live here if I didn't have a kid in middle school and my business is here. But anyway, with them, what I do is the first thing I do is I call the district ranger's office and I say, I'm going to go to Goblin Valley in May. From what I understand, there's no raptor warning or anything like that, and you can buy a drone permit at the office. And then they'll say, yes, that's correct. Then I'll send them a confirming email. I'll print out the email and take it with me. And then it's either the entry station or the visitor center, and I'll check with them. On the big parks, it's the visitor center. On the small parks, it's the entry station because they don't have visitor centers. And yeah, you show up with cash, and you give them the filled out form, and everything's fine.
So you don't have to bring a 6-pack or anything like that to butter them up?
No. And again, I'm especially in Utah. And the other thing I do,
The money in a 6-pack, I'm in.
I always write thank you letters. And I've written
Okay.
thank you letters to the governor of Utah, to the head of the state parks. I write letters to the park, and I always congratulate them on having such an open and honest and profitable approach to drone flying. And I point out how
Nice.
other states,
Yes.
they don't allow drone
First
flying. So
class.
they don't get any free publicity, and they don't make any money off the permits.
Right.
I mean, I suggested to our state parks, I had a meeting with them. I said, why don't you sell state park permits $250 a year? I mean, you guys are talking about closing state parks when you don't have enough money. I pay $250 a year to be able to fly in the state parks. I think a lot of other people would too, but no. So yeah, I always follow it up. I always thank the rangers. A lot of them are interested in where your videos are going to show up. So I always tell them that. None of them have ever taken me up on it, but I always offer to leave them a copy of the SD card if they'd like to download the videos for their own personal enjoyment, but they never take me up on it.
Awesome. Some great tips right there. And then Vic said, never a bad idea to have a printed out confirmation from the headquarters. So that's another great tip.
That's why you follow it up with an email. This is what I understand. This is true, correct? Print. Yeah. Oh, by the way, and I'm not even going to talk about Oregon because it looks like Vic and Kenji have that all under control. But Vic, do you want to hop on? You just put out a post about that you guys have proposed some rules for Oregon state parks, and you need some public comments on that. Would you like to hop on for a minute and tell us about that? Because I saw.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. I
Let's
saw
get
some
this
posts.
party started, man. I'm
Yeah.
ready to travel. And one last thing, Eric, I wanted to say is, I'm not camper. It looks like that would be the way to go.
Oh, we bought our travel trailer as soon as COVID came out, and our travel trailer is named Devo Quirks. Backwards, it makes something. Anyway, so Devo Quirks has been our wonderful travel companion. It's 22 feet long because the HOA that I belong to, they can only take 22-foot trailers, but it's plenty for the three of us. We
Mhm.
absolutely love it.
Cool.
Have
Okay,
solar
something
panels to
consider.
charge everything. It's been great. That it's really the way to go, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
We sold the house and we're RVing.
Okay. So Vic, please tell us about the Oregon State Park situation and how I think you need 75 more comments.
Something like that. Yeah. Basically, it's Kenji actually worked on this. This is his baby. He works with the park to get. Well, first of all, I should say that the director of the Oregon State Parks believes that drones are recreation, a legitimate form of recreation. So that's really cool. And so they decided to try and rewrite some words. They brought Kenji in on the panel, rules, not words. And they are setting it up. So basically, if this passes the way that it's proposed right now, you'll be able to fly a drone recreationally in an Oregon State Park, with the exception of where there are areas obviously of conflict that we shouldn't be flying. And so it's going to be state written, hopefully. And then there'll be stakeholder groups that sit down and figure out each park where we shouldn't be flying. A lot of people are really opposed to this. A lot of people are like, no, ban everything. A couple of people who also said, no, you can't ban drones because it's against the FAA rules. And that's not what they're doing. They are actually writing rules to where they can allow or disallow where we can land and launch. It actually says so in the link that I put in the chat. So deadline is Thursday. It's really close right now. Kenji shared some information with me that we're about 70, and it's not voting. We're not voting. Okay, first of all, it's not like whoever has the most comments wins. But a reasonable comment would be something like, these are very good. It's a very good compromise between safety and our ability to fly recreationally. It's not really a commercial aspect, because if you fly commercially in Oregon State Parks, you already have to have a permit. So that's not even on the table. But Kenji did tell me yesterday that some people are already running into issues with the rangers because of this proposed language. So it's not even out yet, and they're kind of getting hassled to fly. So we really need to get people in there to comment nicely, to offset some of the not so nicely people who are really anti-drone. Some very interesting stories. If you want some entertainment, read some of those comments. Some are like, yeah, that's not really possible with the drone, but you be you. And deadline is Thursday. So that's kind of what we're hoping for. And yeah, here in Colorado, yeah, same thing. We're totally banned in all the states. But what we're trying to do, even if you're not in Oregon, is, hey, you might want to visit Oregon someday. It's a beautiful state, and I've been there. It's gorgeous. Not as nice as Colorado, but still gorgeous. And sorry. And then we can take that if it's a success in Oregon, and if it does pass as proposed, I see no reason why it would not be, I should say. We can use that as a template then to approach our own legislators. And that is definitely my goal here in Colorado. So thank you for letting me talk.
Starts with one, right? It starts with one. So, that's it. Utah, now
Yep.
Oregon, like,
Mhm.
it'll happen, and like what Eric's saying, and we got to be a part of the solution. So,
Mhm.
letting people know that, we understand the responsibility, and I guess, personally, as a drone flight training school, I got to get more adventurers out there flying. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to fly a drone at the state parks.
Mhm. Mhm. And I love what Utah does. I live next door, obviously in Colorado, and I have not had a chance to go out and fly in Utah State Parks. Used to go there all the time when my kids were smaller. I don't know how many times we went over Elephant Hill and Canyonlands in the Jeeps, but it's a really beautiful state, almost as pretty as Colorado.
Almost.
Almost.
Almost. I don't know.
So yes. So any questions, please reach out to me. I'll put my email in the address in the whatever this is called, the chat. Yeah. So if you feel led to
Yes.
comment, that
So,
would be
and there's 31
awesome.
people on this call right now. So there you go. You could have 30
awesome.
people writing in.
And it could be as simply as, hey, I like this wording. It's great. It's a good compromise. Please pass it. Somebody posted earlier today. It's like, yeah, I wrote them a novel. It's like, okay, thank you, but you really don't need to do that. It's just explain your preference and explain how you would like to be able to fly there.
Awesome.
Vic, can you put the link again? There's so many comments here that.
Let's see if I can do that.
Okay.
Doink. How's
There
that?
we go. Okay.
I still
perfect.
had it copied. Ah,
Okay,
Yeah, that
good.
was
it was still on my clipboard still. Yeah, and everything, and it's deadline is Thursday. So
Oh,
it's
let's
not a
get on
vote.
it.
We're not voting, but more comments are better. And honestly, the drone people's comments, with very few exceptions, are much more rational than the ones who are anti-drone. And some of them really are. And some of them have great reasons. Okay. There's a climbing place there's some place in one of the Oregon parks. A lot of people climb. Yeah, we don't need drones there. And so they use that to extrapolate. Hey, you know what? We can't have drones anywhere. Look what they do here when we're climbing. It's like, you totally missed the point. That's kind of the whole point of the thing, is close areas off to landing and launching. So anyway, thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So a couple.
Obviously, they haven't seen somebody's video footage of them climbing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
Well,
mean,
there'll be the
like, come
permit
on.
process.
Yeah,
Yeah, there'll
they
be a
just don't
permit process
understand
for
the
that.
process, because that's
Mhm.
epic. Do a
Mhm.
septic tracking while somebody's climbing or something
Yeah.
vertically, like that would be like their dream.
Yeah.
Jennifer, you have
Jennifer,
your
jump
hand.
on, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was in there, I was reading some of the comments when I was leaving one of my own, and one of them really kind of struck a chord with me, and it was an elderly person, and he said, I'm 85 years old. I still love coming to the state parks, but I can't hike them the way I used to when I was younger, but I fly a drone, and this drone has allowed me to still enjoy the views that I used to be able to enjoy when I was younger. And for anybody that right now doesn't have goosebumps as I am telling the story and imagining yourself as like an elderly person who used to be able to walk around and hike around, I kind of get on my soapbox for disabled people and people that don't, that can't get around the way that you used to when you were younger. This is an elderly person who took up a hobby as a, just flying around a drone, who wants to be able to fly a drone in the parks. And this was his story. So I kind of left a comment there. Look, if you don't know what to say, please go and read some of the things that other people wrote. And if any of those comments resonate with you, write that same thing, because that's all they're really looking for. So if you're, if this is kind of a hobby for you, and this is just something you think you would enjoy because you can't hike a mountain, but you would still like to take in those views and enjoy those views, just write that. Because that is, to what Vic was saying, a much more rational thing to say than, no, I don't like the buzzing noise. Okay. That's kind of what they're getting at. That's, one is much more rational than the other. But this guy was just kind of like, look, my heart is on my sleeve right now. Just give me a place where I can fly. I don't need the whole park. I need a spot. Just carve me out a little niche where maybe I can take in the wildflowers when they're in bloom. And that's all he was really trying to get at. But it was really just kind of a heartfelt, don't take this away from me. This is a little hobby I picked up. I take some great photos and I enjoy the sunset. You know what I mean? So that's all he was trying to get at. And what a great story, and kind of the whole point of this. And if we can go park to park, state to state, and give this guy, 85 years old, a place to enjoy his hobby, that's all this is trying to get at. 85 years old. And one day we're all going to be 85 years old and kind of want to do the same thing. And if you think of all the people that are in wheelchairs, missing limbs, are veterans, all of those people, give them drones to fly and let them enjoy our parks, because that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yep.
You bet.
I read that same one. It was really, really touching. It was good to read that one. So yes.
What are some other destinations that you have in mind, since you definitely are leading the pack?
Is that me?
Who are you
Yeah, what
referring
are
to?
some other places that you are planning on flying at that you haven't flown? Like, what are
Well,
some-
I have not canceled. I've had to cancel a couple of trips because of COVID. So I still have airline tickets and tours set up for Mongolia and Greenland. Those are the next two on the list, and Chile. So those are the ones. And I keep looking at Iceland. If the volcano erupts, I'm going to go back there in a day. I miss the volcano so much, but it's been dormant for about half a year now. So I don't know.
When you left, it left.
It did. Yeah. It
I'm
said,
telling you, it's
yeah.
like, yeah, whatever. We ain't got nothing to show now that Eric's not here. What are some other people on the call? We were gonna go into rooms and we just don't really have time. What are some drone destinations that you guys have? Write them in the chat. Let's share. Let's get some ideas. Let's get out there and enjoy life, man. Come on, we got our drones. No backyard pilots. What are some other places you guys got? Taos?
Italy.
Yeah, Italy.
Oh, yeah. Got a couple of them popping in there. Awesome.
Tahiti. I've always wanted to go to Tahiti and, Fiji, those kind of, yeah, definitely, Izzy. Everywhere.
Everywhere. That's mine right there, Vic. I'm with you. Well, you did
Why? Yeah, definitely.
Mexico recently. Yeah. So
Nova Scotia.
look at these amazing places.
Yeah, man.
People want to take their drones.
If you say things out loud, you have a
Hey, Tahiti
you have
now.
accomplished them. Let's do it.
Nice, Larissa.
France,
Cancun.
Cancun, Sicily,
Mm.
Jordan in July. That's right, Patricia.
Yeah, great places to go. Amazing.
We
Looks like
have-
a lot of people have also.
When I got it a
submitted
couple
for
of
it
years ago, I
already.
had a, go ahead. A couple
Right.
years ago, I had a drone pilot that I connected with somebody that was selling their Spark, and he does tours over in the Holy Land. So, he's over there all the time. So he actually took a Spark over there to fly in the Holy Land. I was kind of surprised he could fly it. I don't know how that all worked out, but supposedly he did.
You can apply for a permit in advance in Jordan. I'm planning on doing Petra and the Dead Sea.
Ooh,
Nice.
that sounds
Yeah.
fun.
Sure.
But you have to apply in advance, and thank goodness they have the permits and everything online.
Wow.
So how much time leadway do you need when they're saying advance time?
Well, I'm gonna pull it for the month of July.
Okay, okay. How about Eric, when you've done your traveling, how much time do you recommend?
Well, there's a long-term and a short-term solution. You have to do both. The long-term is to try to look ahead and see whether they're going to allow drone flying at the time period that you're going to go. Then you have to get your tickets, make sure that if it's a politically unstable country or if their drone regulations are unstable, that you've got the option of canceling your trip. And then you've got to nail it down before you go. So for example, if I was traveling, let's say, pick a ridiculous country. If I was traveling to Russia to go drone flying, I would definitely get something in writing, and I'd be checking every week before I went over there to see whether they'd even let me in the country. COVID has added an entirely new wrinkle. We haven't been back to Thailand for 2 years now because when you arrive in Thailand, they throw you in a quarantine hotel for anywhere from a day to 10 days to 2 weeks, depending apparently on whatever the day of the week is and whoever decides is how they flip the coin. And obviously for me, I can't afford to get stuck in a quarantine hotel for 14 days on the way in and 14 days on the way out because I can't stay that long. So you've got to look right up to the last minute and see what the changes are in COVID and now the war in Ukraine. I think they've completely changed the normal way you go about this. But I try to plan trips at least a year and a half in advance, sometimes 2 years in advance.
Wow.
Hmm.
Hey, that's planning ahead. Does anybody have any idea of the rules in Italy? Larissa would like to know. Anybody traveled to Italy?
Not with a drone.
No.
All I know is if you didn't see the new 007, it's all filmed in Italy. It is amazing. There's so much amazing drone footage in it. So just say you're on that. It's so good.
Awesome, awesome.
I don't
What
know.
about Alaska? Is Alaska drone friendly? Because I know I've been there and I was recommended not to bring my drone because of all the bald eagles and the birds of prey.
Yeah, does anybody have any ideas about Alaska?
Any comments?
I flew Alaska a while back and it was fine. I kept low and we were right in the middle of winter. So apparently the bald eagles weren't flying around trying to eat things.
Ah, okay.
I had my Mavic 2, which would probably qualify as kind of a dumb, slow moving pigeon in their eyes until they got a little closer to it. The area I've had most problem with birds is Iceland,
Really?
of all places. And that's just during a July trip. The rest of the time I've been there, I've never had a problem, but July, they were just pounding my poor little drone.
Well,
We'll
I
have
have
to find out
some
what their schedule
inspiration.
is.
The other thing with Alaska is if you go there in the winter, everything is so snowy that it's pretty easy to spot the birds. And so
Okay.
the places we pulled off on the road, there just weren't any birds around. I mean, no birds at all. Not
So did
birds on
you
the
go through
ground,
the
not little
process
birds in
of
the
heating your
trees.
batteries?
Sorry?
Did you go through the process of heating your batteries?
Yeah, I kept them under the car's heater. But
Yeah.
once you get off, once you get out there and it's 9 degrees, they're not going to stay heated for long.
Right.
Plan on short flights.
Yeah. Did you see an effect? Actually, that would be a good question for all the travels that you've done. How has it affected your flight times? Have you seen the variances?
Well, it affects my flight times, but when I travel, what affects my flight times more is how much time I feel I need to safely get my drone back. So for example, if I'm in Iceland and I'm flying on volcanic rock and I know I've got to do a hand grab because there's no place to land it, I want to give myself a few extra minutes to get on that ski glove so I don't slice my fingers up. If I'm flying off a boat, give myself a few extra minutes because return to home is now in the middle of the Arctic Ocean. It's not over the boat anymore. So it's more a how many minutes do I add to make sure I've got a good shot at getting my drone back safely. And then if I ever go back to Iceland in July, I'm obviously going to keep that drone about 50 feet away from me at most, because otherwise the birds are going to be pounding on it.
Awesome.
But yeah, batteries.
Screw COVID. We got
batteries
it.
will
Screw
cut.
COVID.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
COVID.
Exactly.
So Vic is very proud of himself. He has figured out the the code.
Correct. That is perfect. That is perfect. That is it.
Oh, that's hilarious. Now that's gotta be a new trend too. I love it.
So, well, this has been phenomenal. I'm super excited to hear about everybody wanting to travel. Michelle's traveling. Actually, if you're not familiar with it, AUVSI is coming up. And that is, I think it's kicking off on April 25th, maybe the 24th, and it goes through the 27th. So last part of April, and it's in Orlando, Florida. And we got a couple people that are going to be, oh, High Tech, woo, High Tech's going to be there. Michelle's going to be there. So High
Gonna
Tech,
be there.
Jim, do you know your booth number? Not yet. Okay. So you want to, and Sharon's going to be there. A lot of people planning to show up. And on the 28th is the FAA symposium. Yes, that's supposed to be very, very good, very informative. So a lot of good information. And so if we're thinking about traveling, we want to think about traveling to Florida right now, right?
Sounds good. Let us know. Now
Yeah.
the FA symposium, that's online, right? Right, Vic? Zoomy? No, it's in person.
It is in person. Yes, in Orlando.
Florida?
Yes,
Sorry,
Orlando.
I could actually answer instead of shake my head.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's the day after, same location as
okay.
as the expo. So yeah, it'll be that day, and it is not online. It is only in person.
Okay.
So it took them a while to get approval. So it's not quite going to be like it normally is. So that's kind of disappointing. But I will say next year, AUVI Expo and the FA Symposium will be here in Denver. So
Wonderful.
I'm going to save on travel costs. That's for sure.
Yes, you are. So
Maybe we'll host something.
suppose.
AUVSI, Rocky Mountain will host something. We'll see.
Awesome. I think we need to do a fly-in, right? Everybody bring
Thanks,
their
Eric.
drone. So, all right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up. We had a great conversation again. I can't thank you enough, Eric, for filling in at the last minute. And look at it, just, you pulled it off so well. Always such a wealth of knowledge. We love hearing from you, and everybody loves to travel. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Plus you got us planning. I mean, the thing about it, when you talk about how far in advance that you plan, I mean, it's really, really can help people to start thinking about, what they want to do instead of the opportunity passing them by because they didn't plan. Right. So thank you, Eric, so much.
Yes, yes. So get out and travel.
That's
All
right.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see everybody again, and we will see you next week.
See you guys. Have a great week.
Oh, FYI, next week is Loretta, and she's going to talk about the blue drones. So Loretta will be here next week. Awesome.
Nice. Awesome.
Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Thanks,
Bye.
Eric.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Vic, for all your
Bye.
input.
Bye,
See you,
everybody. So
Parker.
good to see
Bye, Jim.
everyone.
Fly safe, everyone.
All
you
right.
in
Bye.
Florida.
Bye, Jim.
Congratulations to Lisa on your win.
Yeah.
You're a winner.
Yes, you are. Bye, Kyle. That kind of wraps it up.